Doc, what else would you like these young and eager minds to know?
Oh, views on education. Or politics or life. We'll go with education. You've been told you can be anything you want to be if you just work hard enough, right? They've all lied to you. That is a flat lie. I wanted to play, basketball for Iowa. But they didn't need any slow, left-handed guards who can't shoot. Now, I could work very hard and become a good shooter. I could work hard and work with both hands. But no amount of work was going to make me faster. Slow is slow. What it comes down to is something called Gardner's multiple intelligences. Each and every individual has different abilities, things you are good at. Gardner lists 9 different ones. There's like linguistics, mathematics, spatial, music, interpersonal, intrapersonal. Beats me what the rest of them are. But I can take and look at a piece of music and play the notes, but it's not music, it's just notes. I can make a drawing or a painting, but it's not it's not a painting. It's just, you're supposed to do this, this, and this. In English, you talk about sonnets. I can follow the rules and write an English sonnet or an Italian sonnet. That doesn't make it a poem or a sonnet. I understand the math. You need to figure out what you really understand and go from there. Okay. Now, number 2 on my list of whatever. Oh, yeah. Next thing, I don't think anybody, or that I can teach you anything. Everything you know is based on your previous experience or beliefs, whether they're right or not. Everybody knows the Earth is the center of the solar system and the sun goes around it. Just look. You wake up in the morning, the sun's over there. Not today, but today. At noon, it's up there. At night, it's over there. The next day, it's back again, right? Clearly, the sun is going around the Earth. That's just a fact, right? And people believe that version. The Catholic Church believed that version. And when people started to question it, like Giorgio Bruno in France, the church took some exception and he was burned at the stake for being a heretic. Copernicus knew it was wrong, and he came up with the sun centered, but he didn't publish until he was on his deathbed. Because what could the church have done to him? Galileo definitely proved that the sun was the center, and they put him under house arrest for the rest of his life. The church finally admitted in the early 1990s that, whoops, Galileo was actually right, and we were wrong. My job as a teacher is to figure out what your misconceptions are, what you believe is is true, that clearly is not true, present you with an experience which could not happen if your belief was right. So now you have your belief on one hand and what you just experienced on the other, and they are mutually exclusive. So now you're going to want to call a state of cognitive dissonance. Your brain is going, what? You have to, you, not me, you have to construct or generate a new explanation. You have to learn from what you just experienced a new way of explaining it. And that is exactly I view as my job as a teacher, is to give you experiences that don't make sense to you in your worldview, and slowly inch you in the right way. Number 3 on education. For as long as you've been in school, what have you had to do to get a good grade?
Oh, I can't wait to hear these responses.
Pay attention. Okay.
Do well on tests.
And how do you do well on tests?
Study.
Study what?
The information the teacher gave you.
Mr. Bean said homework.
Basically, it comes down to, in every class, you have been rewarded for memorizing volumes of totally irrelevant, worthless information with no understanding. This is a publication class. When was the Gutenberg Press come out?
1497.
Nope, you're about roughly 40 years too late. Everybody knows it's 1452, right?
That was the second answer.
Things like that. In history, you're rewarded for memorizing dates and names and whatever. Do you, honest to God, know what was happening? Of course not. It's not important to you. A lot of people who take, from my view, what I've seen, take Chem 1 and they memorize and they get a good grade. They come into AP Chem and they had to actually understand why it was happening. Why did these two compounds, there has to be some reason. The understanding is the important part. The world needs both, people who can memorize and people who can understand. If you can understand why things are happening, you can come up with a new, shall we say, new products, new drugs, new whatever. Back on the cancer treatment, one of the drugs, nasty drug, guy who discovered it was originally working, trying to come up with a compound to treat Dutch elm disease. You don't see elm trees hardly anywhere anymore, especially in Eastern, because this Dutch elm came through, it just killed them off. He was trying to come up with a treatment. He found different things, but he came up with one of the, I can't even pronounce the one name, but it's generally referred to as Taxol. Nasty drug that blasts, chemo drug that blasts a lot of cancer. Memorizing just wouldn't have got that done. Understand. How does it affect you? If you're a memorizer, fine. You can live with that. But if you can think, explain, understand what is happening, you can make an intelligent decision, they end up calling you boss. You get to be the boss of the company. And I hate to break it to you, but bosses get paid a whole lot more than the peons who are doing the work. So, you need to learn to think and not just memorize. And I wish more classes would force the students to actually think and apply. Now, I don't know where I found this, but failure is your first step in true understanding. What's that mean? Anybody?
You have to understand what you did wrong.
Yeah. If you do something absolutely wrong time after time, but you always, it works out, you don't know what's going on. But when you fail, you got to sit back and go, what happened? What happened? Why? You see, so when you take a test, do you actually go over the test and try to understand why you missed those? Or you say, oh, I got an A or I got a B and move on. That's that reality. Okay, topic 3. Politics.
Any questions on his views on
Question.
education?
Views on education, sorry.
Even though he proclaimed this is the gospel, there may be other gospels.
You said that you taught 13 years at Waukee.
Yes,
What's like your total teaching?
34. At the high school, 3 years as a lab instructor, 2 years as a lab instructor at Drake, 3 years as a teaching assistant at the U of I. I'm old.
Question in the back?
Should
Or are we
have
stretching?
patented dirt,
Okay.
but I've screwed up and did patent dirt. Half the people don't even know what that means. Good.
Block versus periods.
Depends on the subject. In science and math, a 4x4 is the worst possible arrangement, and that can be proven through studies. They need time to sit and assimilate the information and make sense out of it if you want them to think and understand. If you want them to just memorize, hell, just go with your 4x4 and screw it. So for that, you need a daily, a period, a 55.
Year-long class.
For you need a longer time period. Say, instead of trying to squeeze everything into 2 terms, you need to take chemistry and stretch it out, so they got time to think. Some areas, block 4x4 or an AB block is fine. Science and math is not good.